Hi there, I'm Noah Bradley. This is Handmade House TV, and today we're going to talk about rotten logs. Why do logs rot? What do you do about it? Stay tuned. Well, all right, on today's episode, we're going to talk about log cabins and in particularly rotten logs. Why do they rot? And what can you do about it? Let's start with why do they rot? There are three primary reasons why logs rot. And one of them is that we start our cabin too low to the ground. It's important to have a foundation that's up off of the ground. The higher your foundation, the better your foundation is. How high the lowest corner, the closest any log on your cabin should be, is 8 inches to the ground. Preferably a foot is better, but the higher up in the air, the better things will be for your logs. Number two reason why logs rot is because of people putting things too close to their log cabin. In particularly is shrubbery. Never have any foundation plantings around your log cabin. Imagine your shrub having an aura about it, a field, a cloud, a bubble around it that extends away from the shrub by several feet. And this is what is known as the humidity zone, the moisture zone of a shrub. They emit water. When rain hits on top of them, they splash water. They maintain most of the time, except during dry periods, a moisture bubble around them, a zone. And therefore, if a shrub is nearby within 3 feet of your log cabin, that area is going to be a whole lot more prone to rot. And if you've got a shrub that's all the way to touching the log cabin, it's just inevitable. It's coming, and it's coming fast, so you don't want to do that. Now, it's not just shrubbery. You can literally, I've seen people that will lean a ladder against a log cabin, and literally within a couple of years, the rot will be around that ladder, because it does sort of the same thing as what a shrub will do, holds moisture there. I've seen where downspouts that come off of the roof, off the gutter system, where they're nailed directly onto the log cabin, where water can get behind the downspout and cause rot as well. So when you're running your downspouts, you want to make sure and have them a little bit away from your log cabin. But the number one cause of rot of logs is bad chinking. It hands down, there's no doubt about it. If you keep the shrubbery away from your house, you keep your foundations tall enough, and you chink your log cabin properly, you should never ever have rot. I mean, for centuries you're gonna have it. Whereas if you install chinking improperly, I think it's actually worse than the other two. It's hands down the worst thing you can have, and that is that water can get behind the chinking, and the chinking will hold the water right to your logs and cause them to rot out in no time at all. Bad chinking is the number one call for my services that I've gotten throughout my entire career. I have a course over at Handmade House TV just on chinking. It's less than $100. It's the smartest money that you'll ever spend, if nothing else, just to ensure that the chinking that you have on your log cabin was properly installed. It's amazing how few examples of chinking done properly I've experienced throughout my career. Some very talented builders out there, but they mess up chinking all the time, and it's cost a whole lot more to come in and take the chinking down and then repair the logs and then put the chinking back up. So what do you do if you have rot? If you have rotten log on your particular home, what's the best way to address it, and what's the judgment call with regard to that? First of all, if you've built your home in a traditional manner, whereas there's a chink joint, a nice healthy chink joint where no logs touch each other, then you're in great shape, because very likely you have a log that's bad in your log cabin, maybe 2 logs that are bad. If you build your log cabin such as in the button pass method, or as a lot of log cabin kits are done, where the logs are stacked one upon the other, if one log rots, chances are the rot spreads like cancer. to the point where you can lose an entire wall or an entire home thanks to rot with regard to that. Also, that if you're building the traditional manner and you only need to replace one log, then they're much easier to pull out, because basically you just need to put a jack between the courses of logs, raise up the logs just enough to take the pressure off of it. Then you remove the bad log and you replace it with a matching log back into place. Sometimes well, the first judgment you need to make is whether or not the rot is bad enough that it needs to be replaced. If there's a spot or two, maybe it's not bad enough to do anything with it all. Just keep an eye on it. If it's enough where there's an area that needs to be taken out, then perhaps you can do a little bit of a patchwork on it. And sometimes I have found log cabins where and this is primarily in hardwood species, where an outside face of the log is bad, but the inside of the home looks great. And so the first process in restoring such a log as that is basically get in there with a hammer and chisel, much like a dentist does in doing a tooth filling, and that is you remove the rot. You just start taking it away until the rot is gone, until what is left is sound wood. And it's amazing the number of times I've found where basically the outer inch or two of the log is bad, but the inside face is just fine. In which case I will find a matching log and I'll reduce it to a slab by cutting it with a chainsaw, and then putting it into place over top of the outside face, making sure that it matches well outside. And then I've left the interior matching beautiful logs all alone and didn't have to get inside and make a mess on the inside of the home. Now, and one more comment that I'd like to make before we close here, and that is that a lot of this revolves around the species of wood that you choose in building your log cabin. Typically here in Virginia, I think that a lot of log cabins were originally built out of pine. And it's very rare to find a pine cabin that's in really good shape because of rot and insect infestation over the course of a couple of centuries. They're still strong, they're still standing, they're still pretty decent looking, but as far as reusing it and starting from fresh, they're not there. So a lot of the work that I've done in building log cabins has been with hardwood species, in particularly white oak, which is one of my favorites. But I did this little log cabin behind you here in walnut, and when you have a hardwood species and you have a rotten spot, a lot of times the spot is just the spot that rot has set in right there, but it's not rampant. It can be chiseled out and patched or covered over in an artistic way, and you're done with it. And whereas if you have a log cabin and it's of a softer species, such as a pine or a hemlock or spruce, and a lot of times that if you see a rotten spot on them, chances are the entire log is gone. That rot, once it infests part of the log, it seems like it just takes over the whole log. So if someone sends me a photograph, and that's what started this video conversation today, someone sent me one, and if you send me a photograph, it's kind of hard for me to make a judgment call on to what degree you need to go with. But the first thing that I'm looking at when I see a photograph of rot is I'm trying to determine the species, and that'll pretty much tell you what my advice is and what to be looking out for. So if I see someone sends me a picture with an oak log and it's got a little bit of rot in it, chances are it's just fine or it needs a little bit of patching. But if they send me one with pine and they're wondering whether or not they should buy the cabin or not, I'm probably telling them to kind of walk away from that. So anyway, let's wrap it up by summarizing here. When you are building your log cabin, make sure you keep it up off the ground. Build yourself a good solid foundation, no pier foundation, at least 8 inches in the lowest possible spot, but preferably even higher than that. Don't plant anything around it. Don't attach anything to it. Don't lean anything against it. and make sure that you chink it properly. And if possible, when you're building and everything else, if you can choose a hardwood species, you'll be less prone to having any issues in the future. If you build a log cabin following those three principles, there's no doubt in my mind that your cabin shouldn't last centuries. So anyway, I hope that you'll keep these in mind. I hope you'll put them into place. Hope that you'll consider coming over to handmadehouses.com, perhaps signing up for the Handmade House Guild, where you can gain access to everything, every course I've ever done. I think it's 40 hours worth of video, step by step through the process of achieving your own dream handmade house. I know you can do it, and I know you should do it. If you've taken the time to watch this video here today, it's in your destiny. I've never met anyone that is incapable of building their own handmade house. It's much easier to build that dream home of yours than it is to live with the regret of never having tried. So until next week, you guys take care. We'll talk to you then. Bye now.